So now, as per my knowledge, you can see the text is a little bit. I have zoomed in. So we'll use the payload called. So these are the exploit. This is the exploit that we are using. We already generated a payload with this by using the reverse TCP. So now we need to set a few arguments for checking what are the arguments that are required to exploit this. To exploit this, we need to we can use the command called show options. So these are the parameters that are required. So if it is these are the parameters that are required, and if it is a mandatory thing, then it will be mentioned as yes. Exit function which is already there, and local host we need to mention, that is our Kali Linux IP address, and the local port that is already there, and we have also generated the payload on this port only. So we are not modifying any of the local ports. So now we need to set the local port for local host. For doing that, we will use the command called set, and lhost I am setting. So 192.168.43.250, and we'll we have set all the arguments. Now we need to start our exploit. For starting this exploit, we can use two commands. One is run, or by typing the exploit. I am using the command called exploit, and I am starting this. So the exploit is already started. Now what I will do is I will visit my Windows machine, and I will try to download that. I will try to download that payload. So and where we have deployed our exe file in a Apache server of the Kali Linux. So I am visiting the I am mentioning the IP address as a Kali Linux, and chrome.exe is the thing that we are downloading. So here it is downloaded. One we will go to the folder of that where it is installed. Now what we will do is we'll try to install that with the highest privileges. So why it is mentioning it as already chrome.exe is available, so we cannot use that payload. So what we will do is we'll generate another payload. We'll generate another payload with another name. So instead of creating one more payload, where I have already created another payload called ch.exe, where I will install it with administrative privileges, and we'll check. We'll go to our Kali Linux mission whether we have got. We'll check whether we have got the session or not. So here you can see Meterpreter session is open, and we have already entered it to the shell. So now we'll see what is the system that we have got the session. So for that, what I use the command called system info. Here you can see. So there may be reverse problem in the reverse communication. So that's why this error is coming. So I think the session is already expired. That's why it is showing like that. So if exploit that vulnerability successfully. If we got the shell, if we type command sysinfo, what we will get is what is the operating system that is used. Even you can browse the entire operating system using the cd command. Cd means change directory, or ls by using the listing the directories. So countermeasure for this is using the updated antivirus and using the firewall enabled. For if we enable the antivirus, so let's say first we'll enable the antivirus in my mission, and we'll try to download whether we can we'll see whether we can download or not. So in my mission, the default antivirus is Windows Defender. So we'll enable the Windows Defender. So I have enabled the real-time protection. If the payload is generated successfully, so here you can see virus detected. That means our antivirus is detected, and it will automatically delete that exe file. So it is not possible for any attacker to deploy any agents and to take any remote shells. So what countermeasure for this is having the antivirus and having the firewall. And one more thing is to not download any softwares from untrusted sites. We don't know that what is the code that is what is the whether it is a malicious application or not. That application is having the malware which is which is sending our anonymous data to the attacker. So in the next exploit, we'll try to exploit one next mission, which is poorly configured, and we'll see whether we can exploit by using the Metasploit or not. So for that, what I am doing is first we'll as per the previous sessions that you have gone through, we'll go through the first information gathering. What are the things that are there in that remote host. So for that, we'll launch Metasploit by using the command called msf console. So now what I will do is I will use the auxiliary port scanning. And I am using the SYN scanner, where we have in previous session we have gone through what is the SYN scan and what it will do. So now we need to check what are the arguments that we need to pass to the for doing this SYN scan. So we'll use the command called show options. So these are the parameters that are mandatory for this. And so here our host is not available, and the ports that are that it is scanning is 1 to 10,000 ports. So we'll modify 1 to 10,000 to 1 to 100, because if we do the port scanning of 1 to 10,000, that means it will take a lot of time. If we scan any remote host, it might take 10 to 15 minutes, where we don't have that much time in this session. So what I will do is I will mention port as 1 to 100. So and we need to set our host also. So our host is our Linux mission IP address is 192.168.43.213. So now what we will do, we'll start the scanning using the SimScan. For starting this, use the command called run or exploit. So now there we have started the SimScan, and it will list out what are the services that are available in that remote scan. Before that, we will check whether we are able to reach that remote host or not. So no, here you can see that what are the ports that are available. That means we are able to reach our uh, remote host. That is our victim host. So what are the ports that are available is 21, 22, and 23, 25, and 53. 21 is FTP, 22 is SSH, 23 is Telnet, 25 is SMTP, and 53 is of DNS. So it will take a few minutes of time. Uh, for reducing that time, what I have did is I have mentioned ports from 1 to 100. So within the seconds, it will complete. So here you can see one scanned one host, and the auxiliary module is completion is executed. So these are the ports that are available. Generally, we do this part in information gathering to check what are the services that are available, and even if we want to go to in depth, we can use the vulnerability scanner, where in the previous session we have demonstrated the tool called Nessus. By using the Nessus also, we can do the vulnerability scanner. And even in Metasploit, there is a module called Metasploit Nessus. So if we install Nessus in our Kali machine, we can use it Nessus with Metasploit. So what we can scan the vulnerability, we can do the vulnerability analysis using the Metasploit directly, and what is the advantage of that is we don't need to import any of the vulnerabilities data. By default, it will import, and it will show what are the exploits that it have. It will highlight that. So in this session, what we will do is we'll try to exploit the port number 22. 22 is the SSH. Basically, we use the SSH for the remote access. In Windows, we use the remote protocol as RDP. So for Linux, we'll use SSH. So we'll try to launch some brute force attack on this by using the Metasploit on this port. So for that, what we need to do is we need to set some we need to create some usernames and password list. For creating some usernames and password list, we'll use a tool called Crunch, where Crunch is used to generate the word list, which is of combination of any letters that we give. So crunch, we use the command called crunch, and 6 and 8. 6 is the minimum length of characters that we are generating. Let's say, for suppose I mentioned A B C D F G H I J K L M. So what it will do is it will generate the password with the starting of 6 letters, and it will try to generate from 6 letters and 7 letters and 8 letters. Now we'll see how many characters it will take, how many word list it will generate. So I'm saving it as user.txt, that is output file. Here you can see these many number of words that it can generate, and it is generating. So it is completed. So and we need to generate one more file with the password name. So I will use the same command, and I will save the password, save it in a password file, pass.txt. So the same, it can generate. Let's say, for suppose how Crunch will work. I need to generate a word list with letters A, B, C. So what it will do, it will try to generate So the word list is already generated. So we'll go to the Metasploit console and we'll try to set the few arguments which is that is user.txt and password.txt. For that, we need to use auxiliary scanner SSH. We are launching attack on SSH, and now we need to set the remote host IP address, which is of 192.168.168.43.213, and we need to set few more parameters. One is username file, which is saved on my desktop. So I will mention it as user.txt, and we need to set one more thing called password parameter, and we'll start the exploit. So for that, we'll use the command called exploit. So here I have mentioned user.txt. So in previous while generating the word list, you have seen that the same character set I have used it to generate both username and password. So there will be no problem. And the command shell is we have already got one session opened. So we'll check. We'll check what are the sessions that are available. For that, we need to use the command called sessions. So this session is the session is generated by using the SSH protocol, and the username is msfadmin, and the password is also msfadmin. So for taking the session, what we will do is session ID is 1. So what we will do is we'll take that session ID 1. So it has started the taking the session with the following arguments, with these arguments on the port number 22. So here you can see we have already got the session. So if I type ls, we are in a folder called vulnerable. If you want to know what is the remote host architecture, so if you mention uname -a, which is basically used to check what is the architecture of that remote that host. So it is a metasploitable, and that version also we can see. This is how we can exploit Linux machine by using the basic on basic protocol that is called SSH. For countermeasure for this is keeping the strong password, which we cannot be guessable, and restricting the service to the particular remote protocol access to the particular users, so that no other can access that service. Any doubts you can, if there is any doubts, you can mention in the comment section. In the previous comment, I have seen one